And this one is the value follows normal distribution with the center of 80. And
Can we get any
distribution
kilos?
is 5. So the center at 80. So they should have the same shape, but different center point. And when you have the same center but different spread. So when you have the spread is 5, so your bell curve is more narrow. But when you have like a larger spread, so your curve will be much wider. So this is how like different mean and standard deviation will determine the shape of the curve. Okay, so center will not change, will only change the position, but the standard deviation change the spread. So the smaller it will be, the narrower the curve will be, and the standard deviation, the wider it will be. Okay, so the center determine the position. And this one, so if you have a larger standard deviation, it is wider. Okay, and if you have a smaller one, it is narrow. And this one is like this Greek letter of sigma. Okay, so people have different ways to write that. Sometimes they will start here and write over here. But make sure you distinguish between the sigma with the number 6. Okay, and some people will like start here and write a long tail. And most of the people like just do whatever they want. Okay, but make sure you know the difference.
Spam some W's. God, spam W's. Holy shit.
Okay, so for example, here we know like A and B, they have like the different mix, but the same spread, same right. They have different spread, but same standard deviation. And when you look at here, the A and B, they have the different standard deviation, but the same mean. Okay, so this is like how we distinguish between like the two data values. And so for this one, how do we describe A, B, and C? So A and B, what are they in common? A and B, same spread, right? But do they have, what do they not in the same? The same, they have the same center? No, right? So they have different things, but the same standard deviation. How about B and C? What do they in common? Same center, but different spread, right? So B and C, which one has a larger spread? C have a larger spread, right? Because it's much narrower, and B will have a smaller spread. Does that make sense? Okay. And but what does like standard deviation really mean in terms of normal distribution? Okay. So this is always true. Okay. So when we have the normal distribution, so like in the center, if you only have one standard deviation on the left and one standard deviation on the right, that means in the middle we only have 68% of data values. Okay, so that means 68% of values are weighted with one standard deviation of the mean. And there are 95% of values are weighted in 2 standard deviations of the mean. Okay, so
Who's on the live stream? Who's on the live stream?
I think it's just you.
And Riley.
So if we cover 3 standard deviations, we will have
This is 2 people on there.
99.7% of values. Okay, I will get it over here. And this is always true. And so almost like all the values will fall within the 3 standard deviation. Okay, so we say like a value is likely to be within 1 standard deviation, and very likely to be in 2
Sure, it's
standard
hot as fuck.
deviations, and most likely to be in 3 standard
I think the
deviations.
salmon look is
And
hot as
this
gold.
always holds true. Okay? Because like when we see like when we only take the left hand side, we will have 50% of the data values. But when we talk about standard deviation, the middle part is about 68%. And who got that lesson mathematician? And so, for example, if we have the normal distribution of the height of group of the people, and if your height is 1.85 meters, what is the probability that someone chosen and random is taller than you? Very small. Do you remember like when you look at this one, right? You are at how many standard deviation are you from the mean value? 3, right? 1, 2, 3. So when you look at the standard deviation, you only look at like the areas. 1, 2, 3. So that means like if you have like all those way all over here, you go like 99.7%. Right? So here is 3 standard deviation from the mean. So as 99.7 of the data is within the 3 standard deviation. So that means only 0.3% will be outside of this range. Okay, does that sound good? Okay. So, but one thing, this is about normal distribution. So when you have the curve, because it is normal distribution symmetric, and when we have the mean,
Might be your top shadow right there.
if this is my mean, right?
We'll have to make you mod.
1, 2, 3. So if I cover this thing, this one is 99.7%. But because it is symmetric, so that means the red on the left plus the red on the right is totally gives you 0.3%. Because this one is 1 minus 99.7%, which gives you 0.3%. But you have 2 parts.
That stream's
And now
thick as
we only
fuck.
care about the
It's getting
people
into
that is
Look at stream
higher
guys.
than the other. So we need to define this